Okay, I thought I'd do a bit of finishing with the Delica. Got this piece here that I've just sandpapered. Just if I can get it close up to you. Probably won't be able to see. Is that focused? I should put my glass on. It's quite nice here, but it's got a lot of sanding marks. If you look closely, there is sanding marks going across. I used quite a harsh. I knew I was going to be knife finishing it anyway, so I used quite an abrasive. But if there's a lot, especially there. See it? See all the marks going that way. And like I said before, when you sandpaper things and you actually use them, once the oil comes off, washing up liquid obviously is degreaser, removes the oil quite quickly, and you get a thing called raised fibres. It's a common thing with sandpaper, which is another practical reason why it's good to knife finish, because you don't get that issue. Because there's no torn fibres. The knife makes a clean cut, and I've experienced it myself, that when I used implements that are knife finished, they look better. They're more practical in that respect. They don't fluff up, and the facets of the knife that the knife leaves give you a bit of grip, really. So they're sort of practical. They're not just an aesthetic thing. They are a practical thing in the fact that you don't get any issues with raised fibres. A little bit more grip, not as slippery as sandpaper. There's a lot of pluses to it, really, and the aesthetic thing of a knife finished piece. I think it looks nice. Anyway, so I thought I would do a bit here again. Spalted Acer Senkaki. A lot of knots in this. There's knots up here have come out. There's actually a big knot there. I need to go a bit lower here. I'll probably do a little bit of shaping. Take out a little bit here, I think. It's a little bit too much there. But just get a clean cut on everything but the edges. I have sandpapered the edges, the blades. It's very difficult to get the blade right without sandpaper. See, that's nice. Just taking off the corners. And I'll just do as much of the piece as I can. Okay, let's start with our Delica then. Yeah, a lot of sandpaper marks here. You won't be able to see them on the camera. They're very shallow, but they're there. This is the tricky bit. burry here because you've got an out branch, you know, knot, a bit of rot there, just a tiny bit. It's solid though, it's not a problem, but because of the out branch, around the out branch you've got like a burry sort of structure with the grains all over the shop. Just no, it doesn't particularly want to come out that way, or this way. This way seems to be a little bit better. Cross it. So the grain structure's just all over the shop. That's what you get with a burr, and obviously it's quite hard. It's coming out. Just got such control, this knife. I'm so amazed with this Delica. Same old thing. A lot of things I like to try, like a lot of people wouldn't make anything with something like that in it. But I do, and I'll use it in the kitchen because I want to see how it performs. I want to see, does it split? Is it a problem? You know, when it washes, will it wash out? Well, the only way to know is to do it, isn't it? You can surmise about things like this. If you ask a lot of woodcarvers, would a Spyderco Delica be any good for woodcarving? They would say definitively no, because it's a compound bevel, and you wouldn't think that, you know, no one thinks in terms of convex sharpening for a knife like this. But obviously when you do convex sharpen it, well, you know, it's capable of doing this. And that's what these series of videos that not many people seem to be watching are about. It's just me proving to people that once you sharpen a knife like this, it can become a fantastic woodcarver if you know how to sharpen it. And that, obviously, for me, everything gets convex sharpened, freehand convex sharpened. And the benefit for anyone who's not a woodcarver is the fact that you, in some ways, if you want to think, well, I don't woodcarve, well, you are converting the knife into fully stroke sharpenable. And I hear people say about stroke sharpening their compound bevels, but if you've got any serrations, if there's any marks, sharpening marks there, then you can't stroke them out, for one. If you let the knife edge become too warm, if the micro serrations become any sort of sizable serrations, then you're not going to get the knife back to the same level, or you're going to lose a bit of the edge geometry. That's another thing people don't. This knife, convex sharpening, is all about the profile and having a supported edge. That's, in some ways, that's what knife sharpening is all about, isn't it? It's to get as steep a profile as you can, a sharp, aligned edge, and that's it really, isn't it? And a supported edge. Tip's getting a bit near my hand there. Don't particularly want that. Now I'm on a burry area now again. There you go. See how nice and clean that is. Clean guts. So it does need very quick. Very quick edge polish. So I've stayed on the same level. There was something dragging on that, and whether that was some contaminant or a little bit of microserration. See, that feels fine to me now. Again, quick test. I used to test before and after, but I've gone past that phase now, and can't see many people using original paper on YouTube somehow. See, that's fine. We can go right through the crease like that. Yeah, that quick, very quick lick like that, and you're away. It's just edge polishing basically. Tiny bit on the sides, that's usually to get the stropping condition. A little bit of brush pass, so you sort of brush passing anything that could be on the near the edge, and then you have to go steep with the convex and just very gently polish the edge. Just make sure it's rounded off, but ever so delicately. When I say rounded off, I mean literally you're trying to take micro serrations or a scratch pattern out of the very edge. So you're very steep, literally, but you're really gentle. It's not as easy as you think. If you're at all heavy-handed or ham-fisted with it, that's it. You're going to blunt your knife, or you're going to seriously reduce the amount of strokes you're going to get in between stone sharpens. See, to get this out, to get it clean cut, I kept going down and down. So the way to get around it, even though this is flat here, this dips down. I've sort of dipped down the whole this side of the handle as well to blend in, which is also enabled to bring out some of these heartwood colours at sort of an angle. And I've used it. It doesn't look the best as design. It's not the most prettiest of design, but it's really ergonomic in the hand when you use it. You're really locked in. Got a lot to hold of, and at the end of the day it's a stirrer. It's hasn't really got any lift. It's just a straight stirrer, or for picking up things, or for cutting something in the pan, you know, something frozen, ideal for, you know, you drop some peas or some frozen veg in, and you know, crunching it up in the boiling water, cutting a sausage in half to see if it's cooked. Burger, you know, cutting things two together, lifting things out. It's just, you know, it's got 1001 uses. Everyone that I've given these to always says they use them all the time. I use them all the time. That's why in some ways I feel that when I'm making things like this, I think they're more likely to be used, more likely to, I mean, I wouldn't sell something like this, but if I ever do get around to selling things, I'll probably sell spatulas rather than spoons, to be honest with you, because I just think they're so much more practical. I think people are more likely to buy them, use them, and these are different. When you use like a, people say, I can buy a spatula for £1. Yeah, but when you use it, and when it's there in the kitchen, what does it look like? What does it perform like? This performs a lot better. This is unusual and it's unique. This is tricky, going in and out of here with a knife that's neutral. I kept chinking little bits out here. It's lucky this knife's so sharp it can get away with it, but it doesn't want to do it. That bit there, and it just sort of rips out. And you'll see this sort of, can you see that going along there? That's very, you know, this is Acer. That's very beech looking. Very feels like beech when you're carving it as well. Looks like it and cuts like it. Don't want to do that. This has got loads of sandpaper marks on it. Careful here. I want to dig in, you see. And it's a neutral steering knife. It's roughly 50-50, actually, which side. Yeah, it's probably, what would you say, it's slight steering, anti-clockwise, this one. So it's slightly left-handed again. That was nothing, that didn't come like that. That's my the way that a right-handed person, or definitely me, is on the Waterstone, sighted and unsighted. I've explained that to you before. So, a right-handed person will make a slightly left-handed knife. A left-handed person will nearly always make a slightly right-handed knife, unless you're ambidextrous and swap hands, and then you'd be like the best sharpener. If you're truly ambidextrous, then you should be a brilliant convex sharpener. Naughty move, I should have been switched the work round then. Again, still sharp, you can get away with it. Anyway, I think that's probably enough. You'd be falling asleep, but for those that are interested, just wanted to show you, you know, that's the sort of finish that you can get with this knife. Obviously when it's been convex sharpened. Really it's the edge that it's capable of, I think, and what it's capable of. Wood carving, I mean, you wouldn't associate a Spyderco Delica with wood carving, but obviously you can see it absolutely is capable of doing it. And not only doing it really well. You know, I've used loads and loads of knives to sharpen, that I've sharpened to carve wood, and this is really one of the top performers of them all. As a neutral steering knife, this is probably the best one I've ever used, to be honest with you. And I remember when I started off, I think it was a Mora 120 wood carving knife. This would knock spots off that, absolutely. I used to struggle to, I used to break it a lot for a start. Used to fall to bits a lot, the edge. It's an unsupported edge. When you sharpened it Scandi, it would have an unsupported edge, which obviously this is rock solid. I've done a lot of difficult stuff with this knife, but it's just sharper. It has a better profile than a Scandi wood carving knife like that. I've got lots of them, trust me, I've got lots of experience. I've heard people say, oh, my slide knife will flipping faster, you know, why don't you use a slide knife? Slide knife's nowhere near as sharp as this is. You can't, look at the profile of that. Look how thin it is. That's to start with. And it's super steel, which will take an edge that you just won't get on a lot of steels. I've sharpened a lot of steels, and this is one of the sharpest edges I've ever been able to get. And that profile is just blisteringly sharp, both in profile and in edge. So anyway, I hope that's useful to you. Just give you an appetite of really what it's clean. Actually, it's probably a bit dirty. You can actually see it better. I mean, you can see the steepness of this profile. So that's my sighted side that's working towards me on the stone. So that's always the steeper side. You can. Where's the defect? There's a defect there. There's an indentation. You see it? The way that it jumps up, it looks like I'm been scruffy, but it's not. There's actually an indent in the steel just there, where you can see the stone has been skipping over. So that's not me. And obviously that's my unsighted side working away from me on the stone. And that's why I have to back off from the angles, and you get what most people prefer, a nice neat, quite a big bevel really for this knife, but a neat convexed compound looking bevel. Whereas that, I agree, that's where you can see it, that's very freehand. That's as steep as I can go, literally. But the profile, blisteringly sharp. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to carry on finishing this. After I've finished it in oil, I might do a video, or I might just put a couple of pictures on the end.